Okay, so here's the thing. I saw Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald when it had first come out, like a day after it had originally hit theaters, and I sat there in the theater trying to really kind of piece together how I was feeling about it. It was like part of it was playing on my Harry Potter nostalgia, but part of it just really irked me and I couldn't figure out why. But after this movie came out, there were a lot of videos coming up on YouTube about how everybody was really kind of upset about the Crimes of Grindelwald, and I didn't want to immediately make a video where I was jumping on the hate bandwagon and talking about why I didn't like it if I wasn't sure that I didn't like it. But it's been some time now and I'm pretty sure I can stick to my guns and say I really didn't like this movie. But that's actually not what we're gonna be talking about today. Today, I actually wanted to talk about this theory that I had kind of been kicking around in my head since I watched it. So before the movie had come out, there was a Seamus Gorman video talking about how he thought Queenie was actually Snape's grandma. And there were a couple of really interesting points that he had hit on. So the primary thing is that Queenie Goldstein, much like Severus Snape, is a legilimens, and even though you can learn legilimency, it runs in bloodlines. So there was that idea that Snape had probably inherited it from somebody in his family. Additionally, we know that it is his mother's side of the family that is the wizarding side, so it gave credence to the fact that Queenie in 1927 doesn't have any children yet and she isn't married, so she could conceivably be the mother of Eileen Prince, which would line up well with Snape being born in 1960. So spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the Crimes of Grindelwald, because we're kind of just gonna get into some nitpicky details. So my idea is I am totally on board with the idea of Queenie being Snape's grandma, and here's why. So at the end of Crimes of Grindelwald, we see that Queenie has gone off with Gellert Grindelwald to Nuremberg, Austria, and she's in the castle with him and she's left Jacob. So my primary thing when I had watched Seamus Gorman's video was thinking that that's weird. I don't think Queenie is not gonna stay with Jacob, and Jacob's last name is Kowalski. It's obviously not Prince. And Eileen was Eileen Prince and she went to Hogwarts, so conceivably she's in Britain when she's growing up. So I thought it was weird that Queenie and Jacob wouldn't be together, or that they would like move to the UK and give themselves the last name Prince. But my thought is, after Queenie had left Jacob at the end of the movie and is seen in Austria with Grindelwald trying to keep his movement alive with Credence, who's now Dumbledore, but we're not gonna get into that. That's not what this video is about. Anyway, so Queenie's in Austria, and my thought is she's no longer with Jacob, so she's kind of free, I guess, to maybe meet another wizard. And obviously she's with Grindelwald, so there's probably a bunch of wizards around, and I'm thinking that she meets a wizard with the last name of Prince, but P-R-I-N-Z, like the German way, since they are in Austria. So hear me out. I know Eileen Prince's last name is P-R-I-N-C-E, the English way, but here's what I'm thinking. So we know that Grindelwald loses the duel to Dumbledore in the 40s, which means most of his followers, probably if they didn't die in some type of altercation with Dumbledore's followers, probably fled somewhere. So if we're going with that historical context and everybody's comparing Grindelwald to Hitler, a lot of the Nazis had fled to Argentina. So my thought is Queenie and the mysterious wizard Mr. Prince, P-R-I-N-Z, flee to England and change their last name to P-R-I-N-C-E to better acclimate to the new country that they're in and kind of maybe cut ties from the fact that they were on the losing side of the war, much like the Nazis who fled to South America had. So we're keeping up that parallel. And here's why I think it's plausible. So if the movie takes place in 1927 and we know Grindelwald is defeated in the 40s, that means that Queenie could have easily had a child with mysterious Mr. Prince, which would have been Eileen, and you know, she could have been born before the fall of Grindelwald and the name had just changed with the rest of her family. But that 1927 timeline that we're working with from that movie, and then knowing that he falls in the 40s, she could have a child between that time and start raising her kind of on the continent during this conflict, and then have moved to the UK, and her child could attend Hogwarts if Eileen had not yet been 11, depending on which year Eileen was born. And We also know that in the wizarding world, people tend to get married and have children at a much younger age than most muggles do. So Eileen could have conceivably just been a younger mother who met Tobias Snape and had her son, Severus, which would kind of line up since he is born in 1960. So I am totally on board with the theory that Queenie Goldstein is definitely the grandmother of Severus Snape, and it explains how she got across the pond from America and ends up having a grandson who is English. But at this point, I'm just so enthused with this idea, and I really hope it's true because I just want more Snape stuff. Like, it's so lacking in the canon, and if this just turns out to be true, I can forgive the whole Credence is a Dumbledore thing that happened, because honestly, it equalizes out, and I would just be, like I said, so happy if this was true. But let me know if this is something that you agree with. Leave a comment down below, and if you have any other film theories about the Crimes of Grindelwald or the whole Fantastic Beasts series as a whole, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I try to put new videos out at a relatively frequent basis, but you know, life gets in the way. But when it comes to Harry Potter stuff, I just have such a burning passion for it that I feel like I have to discuss this stuff with you guys. And like I said, I really hope this is true. So I'll check back in. I'm still trying to mull over other things that I hated about this movie. It just left such a bad taste in my mouth. But that's another discussion for another video, and I'll see you guys very soon.